Why I don't camp anymore. I used to enjoy camping. It was always a fun, exciting adventure for me and my family. That is, until one trip. It was a Monday. We planned on spending the whole week camping in some campgrounds we found 2 hours away from here. By around 6 a.m. I had woken up the kids and my wife and loaded up the truck. It was a good 30 degrees considering it was in Colorado. Once everyone was loaded up, we began our 2-hour drive to our campgrounds. 3 hours later, we just now arrived. Traffic was heavier when we passed by the city, causing a delayed time. However, now that we are finally settled into our zone, we can finally relax and stretch our legs. That day went as followed. Nothing out of the ordinary. When it came to dusk, though, things began to get strange. The birds almost went totally silent. In fact, everything went silent. Awfully quiet when you're in the woods, in a canyon where you should be hearing everything. We thought nothing of it and brushed it off as a quiet night. However, our attitude changed when we started hearing hasty, moderate-sized footsteps across our campground. Again, being the skeptical man I am, I pushed it off as being a deer or a raccoon, collecting the leftover food I left behind, though gradually it became to be very tedious, constantly hearing footsteps. I went to confront this animal and scare it away, so I began unzipping my tent. As expected, the footsteps scampered off into the forest again, so I decided to go to sleep. That same night, I woke up to a weird glow coming from the right side of my tent. I didn't have my glasses, and it was pitch black outside, so all I could do was intently stare at that glow and see if I can figure out what it was. That's when it hit me. Fear, terror. I could now distinctly make out the shadowy figure of a person crouched down beside my tent with a lantern. It looked as if he was making a stretched out smile, staring at me. I was totally terrified, frozen in fear, my heart racing so fast I could barely hold in my tears. Me being 29 may make me look like a wimp, but you would react the same way. I had to just close my eyes and pray that this human or thing didn't harm me or my family. I locked my eyes shut, sweat all over me, and just waited to fall asleep. I had to try, even with the feeling, not just the feeling, the reality of being watched. The next morning, I woke up. I immediately woke up my wife, grabbed the kids, and rushed them to the truck. Screw packing up, I didn't care. I ran over to the car. Just as I reached it, I realized something. Our tires had been slashed. My heart dropped. Suddenly, I jumped when my son asked what was wrong. My wife was panicking too. We rushed back to the campsite, knowing we had some tape and a pump somewhere. We were planning to inflate a raft and go rafting a bit, and we always bring tape in case our raft breaks. We searched and searched before we finally found it. We ran over to the car again, carrying our stuff. Keep in mind, this is a mere 20 minutes since we left our car's slashed tires. When I got there for the second time, my heart dropped. Our car has the words, "You can't hide, you can't run," smeared in black charcoal on it. I was terrified. We all were. I packed my kids in, fixed up the tires. Wasn't the best, but I didn't care. I drove only 21 miles before we ran out of gas. I suppose I can with low gas, and didn't bring extra. I was furious, yet felt safe knowing that we were now 21 miles away. I called my buddy from work, who lives 62 miles away, to come pick us up. But since it was getting dark, we'd have to stay the rest of the night. I armed myself with a Glock and had it ready. Eventually, though, where I failed as a person, I fell asleep. I woke up to light tapping on the window, and I was so terrified, I didn't open my eyes. As soon as I opened them, my soul left my body. I was filled with utter fear. There was a totally bald, pale male with a wide grin, smiling at me, holding a lantern. His eyelids were held back with pins and needles. I grabbed my gun. He darted off at what felt like lightning speeds. I immediately woke my family up and had them all awake. Finally, 15 minutes later, my buddy showed up. We gunned it out of there. I don't know who or what that was. All I know is, I hope me and my family never have to see it again.